This video gives a more detailed explanation of each of the reports in the Maintenance Request and Logs module. Open the report builder by clicking on the Reports and Printing. First, select the type of report you want from the drop-down by clicking on that report. The first report, Current Record, there are no individual filters because we are just printing the record that you were on when you open the report builder. Just click Preview Print. The layout on the detailed report is that you have your catalog drop-downs here to tell you what piece of equipment it is, the log ID, the status, if it's opened or closed, again, all logs that are completed or closed, who it's assigned to or the craft or title it was assigned to, the date it was created, the issue, and if there's been actions put in already, it'll list those here, the author, when the status was set, and if you've already put in hours and cost and downtime and parts, that'll list here. If you've itemized parts that you've used, they'll show here on the ticket, and then there's an area where you can just write things yourself if you'd like. The next report is the Work to Do Open Status Logs. These are logs that are not completed or closed. Notice here now we have a number of filters because you could filter in your catalog to a certain sub-level 1, 2, 3, or 4, or use your catalog quick pick because maybe you're looking for the work tickets for just a certain piece of equipment. Here we can type in a date range, all dates or dates between, and then we have additional filters that you can use to also filter to this report as well, and how you would like these sorted out. Once you put in the filters you like, just click Preview Print. Now in this case, we have 3 work tickets. You could scroll on the lower left on your Access toolbar to look at each of the tickets. But just like in the last report, you have your catalog drop-downs, your log ID, your status, when it was created, problem action, who it's assigned to, just basically all the information about a particular log as well as areas that you can write in yourself. The third report we have is the Open Status Logs 3-line summary. Now this is the same report as the last one for Open Status Logs, but rather than getting a full detailed description of everything on each work ticket, here we are just getting a brief 3-line summary of what is on each log. In this case here on the summary report, all we have is the log ID, the catalog information, the date created, and the problem or issue field. The status, who created by and who it's assigned to. Notice here again, it's just a brief 3-line description of what each log is. The next report we have is History Completed Status. So this is not going to pull up any open logs. This is all logs that have been completed and are therefore closed. Again, we have our catalog drop-downs, dates, our other fields. And here in this report, we can get the detailed view, which shows each log on its own sheet of paper in full detail, all information, or again, the 3-line summary. First, let's look at the detail view. Again, your catalog, log, information, closed, about what it is, what was done, information to write down. Now, if we look at the summary view, again, the summary view is just 3 lines, information about what it is for the catalog, the ID number, what the problem was. They're always going to be completed on this report, who created it, who it was assigned to. The next report on our drop-down is the cost hours for PMs and logs. Now with this report, if you'd like, on the log side, you can click and select logs only. If you don't have this box checked, then it'll also include the PMs. On the PM side, you can pull up this same exact report and narrow it down to just the PMs and leave out the logs. But other than that, it's the same report. Again, we're going to filter our catalog items, date ranges, who completed this here particular ticket. And if you wanted to look for tags in the log problem or action fields, you can do that here. Just hit Preview Print once you've applied your various filters that are useful to you. And now how this report displays is in the first columns here. If it's a PM, it would have the PM IDs here. If it's a log, it would have the log IDs here. Then we have the date of the ticket, And if we have a subject, that's where you put the first line in the PM info or in the log issue phrase inside square brackets. That way you can look at these and see if there's just a title or a reason what the ticket was about, just an overview. Then if you put in PM cost, parts, and hours, those fields will be filled out here. And then for that piece of equipment, all of the tickets are going to be grouped together. And then the total for this here, in this case, the exercise room, all the totals would be here in blue in the catalog totals. And if you had logs, cost, parts, hours, and downtime, it would reflect those values here. The totals of all that cost for the PMs and logs for that single work ticket. And then for all of them for this piece of equipment would be listed here in the blue. Notice here we just have one ticket for each of these. In this case here, we had 2 tickets for this here one. And so it'll just group them all together for you. That way you can see where your time, money, and parts, hours, downtime is going for each piece of equipment in its own, as well as the cost for that piece of equipment. And then if you scroll to the end of the report, it'll give you the grand totals for everything for each of those categories, as well as the grand total for everything. I know right now this report doesn't look like much because we have limited information in the database, but this is a very powerful report internally to be able to look at where your time and money is going and areas for improvement. The next report in the Maintenance Request and Logs Report Builder is the labor hours, PMs, and logs. Again, if you want, you can filter the report to logs only, and this report is also available in the PMs where you can select PMs only if you'd like. Same catalog drop-downs, date ranges, tags if you want to search up. This report will also come up with detail and summary. Just hit preview once you've applied your filters. And again, here we're going to be able to look for each person now for their labor hours. We had some where there wasn't a person's name listed on a particular ticket. Here we have different names and the tickets they did, whether they were PMs or logs, the date, if we had an itemized title there for it. And then if we were using hours, logs, downtime, it would list what they are. Many of these tickets we didn't. But then for the ones that did, you'll have the blue will give you a total for each person, what they'd spent for PMs or logs. Good way to see, how much of your time your maintenance people are spending on breakdowns and repairs, how much they're spending on preventive maintenance to avoid those breakdowns and repairs. And then at the end of the report, we'll have grand totals so that you can see how much you are spending on PMs, logs, downtime, all as a total. The all logs used a filter from the entire log database is just a way for you to search through the entire log database and based on your filters, look for certain logs that met those criteria. Maybe you're looking for all the logs that were assigned to somebody or completed by somebody. Between date ranges, the logs that you had. Or maybe you had tags that you put in logs or action where you're looking for a certain keyword like thermostat or thermocouple or broken or O-ring, things like that. You could filter to look for the logs that had just that word in it. So this is the report you would do for that.